the future of business this week, we discussed with Nedbank CIB how agricultural commodities and the world of agriculture and food security integrates with the kind of services that banks can provide to effectively help secure a longer and sustainable future, not only in South Africa, but the rest of the continent. Joining me to discuss more on this is Nedbank CIB's Zhann Meyer, who is the head of agricultural commodities at Nedbank CIB. Zhann, thank you very much for joining us. In terms of Nedbank's purpose, which is money exports who do good, how does this resonate with clients in the agricultural sector where water and soil are key resources required to survive?
Gary, thank you. Thanks for having me. So Nedbank's purpose is actually money experts who do good for individuals, families, businesses, and society. And as you may know, is agriculture, the industry and the sector has been remarkably resilient through COVID. We've shown double-digit growth during the COVID period, and not only in South Africa, but also on the rest of the African continent where Nedbank services our clients in this sector. So I think from that perspective, the answer is it was very well received because we had the right kind of discussions with our clients in terms of we are now in a COVID pandemic. How do we assist you to keep sustainable and keep relevant in a sector which is pretty much, undeniably very, very critical for Africa as a continent?
Well, there are some pressing issues and specific requirements from producers and downstream agriculture. How is financial institutions like yourselves addressing these?
It's important to be fully in touch with your clients, Gary. And I think one of the issues that I think we can't beat around the bush for is obviously expropriation without compensation. It's a burning point for all our farmers in terms of, do I invest, do I buy land, or do I lease going forward? And the other issue is naturally, energy supply, power, Eskom. Because of our dairy industry, our irrigation industry, people who's desperately reliant on energy to actually make do with the resources that they can use. And I think the other, one obvious one is naturally climate change. And it's something that we're seeing more and more becoming prevalent, not only for our large commercial farmers, but also for the small scale farmers who's actually, exposed to this kind of risk on a daily basis. And we need to resonate with our clients in terms of having those conversations. And it's not merely about funding insecticide, diesel, and fertilizer, but having a wider, let's call it an in-depth conversation with our clients to exactly understand what the needs are.
Well, more broadly, are commercial large-scale producers seeing the benefit of integration into these days sustainable farming practices?
Gary, this is the beauty of the industry, and it's almost not like it. I don't think a commercial farmer in South Africa or the rest of the continent, for that matter, can see sustainability as a sideline thing to do. It's actually now so integral part of their business in terms of water usage, in terms of soil preservation, and naturally we spoke about it just earlier on electricity supply. So farmers are almost driven towards a sustainable approach towards their business just to stay relevant. And these practices are things that's integral part of their business. It's about no-till or minimum till of soil. It's about shade netting applications. It's about changing your irrigation systems to use water optimally. These things are all scarce resources, and the better you can do in terms of using that, increasing yield and quality of your product, the more sustainable and the more time you will spend on your farm for prosperity. So I think it's important to understand that our farmers have seen sustainability not as something on the side. They see it as something that is part of their business, and they want to talk to a bank that understands that predicament. And for us, it's crucial to have then that conversation with our client. We know shade netting is an extremely expensive exercise. It's a massive capital investment, but we've gone into it actively and engaged with our clients saying that if you can save 30% water and you can increase your production by 20%, then it should be a no-brainer. And for us, basically guaranteeing the credit worthiness of a healthy client is something that's crucial for our business.
So that's as far as large, corporate producers are concerned. Where are the thousands of small-scale and subsistence farmers maybe on their sustainability journey? And how does a bank like yourselves aim to align the needs for finance in that context?
Gary, that's a tough one. It's difficult because small-scale farmers invariably do not own land. They're either on tribal land or on leased land from the government. And it's important then that you need to think differently about the financing model. Land cannot be mortgaged for security. So we need to think about these small-scale farmers as individuals that also has a need. Unfortunately, and our agricultural master plan instilled by the government shows us that less than 7% of our agricultural produce is actually produced by these small-scale farmers. And that's not sustainable. You know, we need to uplift the farmers to become commercial farmers. And to do that, we need to approach this differently. So we're starting small. We're starting with education in the industry. We're starting with, for instance, assisting small-scale cattle farmers with readily available and sustainable markets for their produce. We're helping small-scale farmers in the citrus industry through our large-scale commercial clients, the cooperatives and financing institutions that produces finance and supplies finance to these entities, to look at how we structure this and make sure that access to finance becomes something that is not problematic, but it's about holding hands. It's about that partnership. And if you don't have land and that knowledge base as collateral, it's important that you have a mentor and that you have that skills transfer to make sure the farmer stays on the land and use the mechanization, the equipment, and the finance that we provide optimally to make him a profitable farmer. It's a long road to go, but we're hopeful and we see some progress and we see some phenomenal results, albeit on a small scale.
We're going to have to leave it there, but looks like we're well down the road of getting there. Thank you very much. That was Zhann Meyer from Nedbank CIB. Thank you very much for joining us.